Yo, what's going on, y'all? It's Combo Breaker 99 back on the fight front. Once again, make sure y'all subscribe. Just back with the real quick video here on my thoughts on a certain situation, man. I just kind of want to go back and talk about like the UFC 247 scoring. I just want to talk about the scoring that night and, judges in general. I don't necessarily want to go back and debate each and every fight round by round. I'm not going to do that. But this was, to me, one of the more memorable times when we had this many fights where the judging just sucked. There was just a lot of upset people about, some of the turnouts for some of these fights. Three of the fights that a lot of people targeted was that Andre Ewell fight versus Jonathan Ewell fight versus Jonathan Martinez. And of course, to me, Lauren Murphy versus Andrea Lee, and, even the John Jones Dominique Reyes fight. I've talked about this, before in boxing because, if you go to the Jab podcast on jabeffect.com, I've talked about, judging and scoring, as far as in boxing, so I feel like it's just as big a problem here in the MMA as it is in boxing, where, we have these judges scoring fights that when you think about it, they really have no knowledge, or they really don't know what they're looking for in a fight. What they're looking for isn't what people are really training for, what fighters and, what their trainers are really training them for. Sometimes, we can really be stuck with judges that, have their careers in their hands. Last Saturday, we had some scores that to me were really just throwing me off. And, a lot of people were saying like, were they really watching the fight? And then when you heard about it, they really weren't watching the fight. Because going back to the Lauren Murphy and Andrea Lee fight, I was watching a fight that had some back and forth action in it. At times where, we felt like it was close moments, but I still felt like there was this closeness to it. But at the same time, there was a winner there, because even though there was a lot of exchanges, Andrea Lee was still staying up on it. She was still staying up on it. And I felt like she was still doing enough to win the fight. And it was obvious. It was seen. You know what I mean? Like, you could see there was action, back and forth action that makes you excited. But at the same time, you're like, there's still a fighter in there getting the best of it, because they're still doing that little extra thing to win. Because they know that they're doing that extra thing to win in order, to win. Because there's some fighters say you got to take a shot to give two shots. And that's what Andrea Lee was always doing in this fight. But when no scores are read after the fight, especially the one judge who had it 30-27 for Murphy, I was like, for real? I was like, damn, they really gave her all 3 rounds. And that's when I was like, we really have some judges that really aren't giving a damn about what they do. That's what really crossed my mind again. Like, that was kind of like the last time I thought of it, because first time, when you've seen it, like even in the Canelo Mayweather fight, what's her name? Adelaide Bird, her score, having a fight one like that for Canelo, that was one of the moments where I was like, what the hell is this? But now just the way it comes back to this, not a single round was given to Andrea Lee. I was like, for real? I was like, they really don't care about what they do. And the one thing that I forgot to mention in my video, my post-fight video I did about Lauren Murphy and Andrea Lee, was that the fact that the commentators, I think it was Joe Rogan or one of the other commentators, said that in a fight this close, they were hoping the judges were paying attention, but it really looked like the judges weren't paying attention, like they should have. I think he said something like either two of the judges were conversing, and one of the judges was like looking down at the table doing something else, according to Joe Rogan and them. They were just like, this is a time that they really need the judges, and it looks like the judges aren't paying attention. So I was really thinking like, man, like these fighters in here, they're working hard, man. They're working hard, they're training hard to get in the octagon and perform, hoping that these judges are going to do their job. And when something happens like this, to me, I'm really sure that it really makes these fighters frustrated, questioning whether they want to fight again if their skills are put in the hands of these incompetent idiots like this. Because when you have your skills put in the hands of idiots like this, who don't know the fight game, how are you ever really going to be able to get to the top? I mean, you could say, well, I'll bring up the one statement that I kind of agree with in a minute, but I do agree with Andrea Lee and Joe Rogan on this one. Like I said, I'm not even like Andrea Lee fan. I was going for Lauren Murphy, but I was like, Lauren Murphy took an L in this one. You know what I mean? And on Andrea Lee, her Instagram, she posted it. You can go back to her Instagram and read that, but she also posted that she felt like that one judge who scored at 30-27 needed to be fired. And, I think that I think that judge might be fired, because I think he was the one that they said wasn't looking at the fight. He wasn't paying attention to the fight. And then throughout the night, even in that Ewell fight versus Martinez, that judge wasn't paying attention. So it's like, what are these guys getting paid to do? So for me, I'm thinking, like, if I were to bring in judges, like I said this on the Jab podcast, if I was to bring in a judge, to judge a fight, you would have to apply to become a judge for me in combat sports. You would have to have been a fighter before. I think you would have to have some type of experience in knowing what wins rounds, what scores points, everything down to like effective aggressiveness, the defense, the adjustments make to win rounds or take rounds, and the quality of punches versus little slaps that don't affect opponents. Those are just some of the things I have, which I'm going to probably do this on the podcast episode. I'm going to break it down a little bit more, but those are just some of the things that I really feel like a judge should be looking for, which is what I think a lot of judges don't looking for, which is dangerous. It's just dangerous. And I also feel like there should be an age limit. I feel like there should be an age limit. You shouldn't have these old men in here that never lace gloves up, or some of these women in here that don't know a ring from an octagon, or a left hook from a jab in here, trying to judge a fight like a casual fan, or, they're trying to judge a fight in the eyes, of what's going to satisfy the casual fan. You can't go off of wild bombs or crowd cheering, or just like a little bit of blood, or whoever you think is the popular fighter. You can't say somebody's winning just because they threw this big flurry and everybody cheers and every single damn punch misses. You can't judge a fight like that. There has to be these set standards. And I think that I really think there aren't these set standards. I don't think there are set standards where, judges are actually saying, okay, this is what we have to look for. No, I'm going to look for whatever I feel like I have to look for that I like. It's not what's really going down in the ring. Like going down to the Lauren Murphy Andrea Lee fight, I'm trying to figure out what they liked over Andrea Lee, her performance in that fight. I thought she did enough to win the fight. Like I said, she could have done other things to win, but that's just my trainer's mind, to keep her one step up the game. But she was doing it in her own way. She was outscoring her, she was outstriking her, but the judges didn't see it that way. So I just feel like there's so much more that these judges gotta do. And the last thing I wanted to mention was the fact that I've talked about this with other people. I was like, these judges are blind. These judges don't know what they're doing. And then, but the person always says to me, well, so-and-so needs to knock that person out. I'm like, for real? I mean, what the hell are these judges getting paid to do? Not everybody can knock somebody out. The first thing I went to in my mind was that statement, don't leave it in the hands of the judges. Well, I partially believe in don't leave it in the hands of the judges. I just don't fully stand by that, because that means that the judges don't have to take their job seriously, or if we did that, then after that, we'd feel like, hey, these judges we have, they really don't need to be qualified to judge combat sports. We're just always going to depend on that person to knock him out. And if he doesn't knock him out, we'll just go back and try to remember little pieces and highlights of the fight. That means these judges aren't really watching the fight like they should. Because not everybody's going to be able to knock somebody out, Not everybody's going to have that type of power. That's going to cheat a lot of people, because some people aren't born with knockout power, or that they're not, their styles aren't knockout based, So we do need judges. We need competent judges in there to score a fight, And I feel that way. Like, shit, I'd like to take a crack at being a judge, just see it at an amateur fight, just to show you that, hey, I know what to look for. You know what I mean? Because I just feel like, look, like not everybody can knock somebody out, so we still need those three or whatever they want to up it to, 5 judges, competent judges to call these shots whenever it goes to the cards, But that's all I got on this, and y'all. I just kind of wanted to do a little pre-talk on this, which I'll go back again and talk about this on a podcast episode, coming up. But I kind of want to cover it just for, like the things we had go down in mixed martial arts and boxing. It gets disgusting sometimes, and when you don't have good scoring in the fight, it can really turn people off of the fight game, you know. And that's what I hate about it, because every time there's a bad score, you know, to a good fight, there's a lot of people out there that just say, that's why I don't like this sport, or they're always like, that's why I don't watch boxing. And it kind of makes me sad, you know, which I rarely get. You know, it kind of makes me feel sad for that person that they got turned off, or they were enjoying a really, really good fight or a really good boxing match just to see a bad, you know, just to see a bad result read, you know. And then they say, that's why I'm not watching sport anymore. So all in all, man, we just need to get rid of these, you know, incompetent idiots sitting there just talking or feeling like they don't have to judge a fight right. Because, like, something I'll even go back to is I think they really start to pay attention when it comes down to the quality of fights, which is something I think judges, that's how they kind of base how they're going to do a fight. You know, if it's not really like a big fight or undercard fight, they really don't pay attention to it. But that's something I'll go into later, man. But let me know in the comment section what y'all think as far as how judging should go down. You know, I have my set standards on what it should be. I think it's just something that just needs to be fixed by having experienced people from combat sports in the game, former trainers or former fighters. But again, let me know what y'all think, guys. Make sure y'all subscribe to the Jab Effect YouTube channel, as well as Combo Breaker 99. I'm out. Peace.